Alrighty everyone, welcome back. We are now in the last few days of February before we get to March 1st, the official debut day of The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1, which unfortunately it's going to be a tad bit short. It's going to run like 30-some minutes long, I think, 35 minutes counting credits, give or take. So, obviously, John and Dave, they are getting very excited for what's about to drop on Disney Plus and Star Wars Celebration when it comes to their announcements and more expansions on the roadmap. That's going to be unveiled at D23 later this year to introduce new eras. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, yes, given that we have John and Dave really preparing to make a lot of announcements, a lot of teases and hints toward what's about to be revealed in Mando 3 and Mando 4, we already know that the revelations that will be dropped in the third season are not even going to compare to the ones that will debut in Season 4. Jon Favreau actually talked about this, that Season 4 is going to have twists and turns and revelations that's going to leave a footprint in not just Star Wars, but all of pop culture. And that's really, saying a lot. Now, moving on to the next big thing here. One thing that a lot of fans have been calling for a very long time now, mind you, is the whole Kathleen Kennedy situation to be handled. To get her fired, to get her replaced, and it is happening, slowly but surely, we're getting there. And there's been a couple of setbacks throughout the past couple of months and years even, and a lot of that had to do with the whole Bob Chapek and Bob Iger transition, and people being unavailable to take over the role of Kathleen Kennedy and stuff like that. Now, as we talked about this briefly yesterday, there's more to the story that Ron Howard, the first candidate, was dropped because he was busy. David Heyman is at the bottom of the list right now because he's likely busy with a new Harry Potter film. And now at the top of the list, we got Dana Brunetti to become the new Lucasfilm president to take over Kathleen Kennedy by this August, is the current plan by Bob Iger. Now, there's a lot of drama coming out of this, all because of Kathleen Kennedy herself, and a little bit to do with Brunetti himself. And not a bad thing when it comes to Brunetti, we'll discuss. So, with Disney executives creating new plans to get a new Lucasfilm president to take over and replace Kathleen Kennedy by this August, however, as of now, Kathleen Kennedy is beginning to create more drama at Lucasfilm after Disney now has chosen its top choice to replace her. Kennedy is said to have very big issues with Dana Brunetti, who is now the top candidate to replace Kennedy herself. Kennedy is said to have personal issues with him and does not want Dana to take over Lucasfilm, as she also believes that he is not a good creative lead for the franchise and labels him as a destructive producer not fit for Star Wars. Kennedy is said to have told Disney executives that she believes for somebody that made a film called Fanboys is not fit to lead Star Wars and may be misguided by providing too much fan service since he is a big Star Wars fan himself. Let me just pause here for a second. Alright, so I don't know if you guys, we talked about this too. We talked about how Dana Brunetti is the guy that created the movie Fanboys. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. It's a comedy film on fan culture within the Star Wars universe. It kind of taps into Star Trek a little bit there too, but it's more catered to Star Wars. Dana Brunetti was a producer on that. He's a mega Star Wars fan. He's huge into this stuff. And Kennedy believes that somebody like that is not fit to become a president of Lucasfilm because they would be misguided and have bad judgment on what the right thing is to do with shows, and believes that somebody like that is only gonna pretty much overpour fan service into the actual franchise. And I don't think that's the case at all. Look, we got John and Dave, also very big fans of the franchise, and they are doing just fine. Any kind of fan service that they throw at us at least has some kind of value to it, has some kind of reasoning behind it. It's not just thrown in there for the sake of it. And I respect that. They kind of add a story or a background to it all. So, Kennedy's defense against Brunetti being a very big fan as a bad thing It just goes to show you and prove to ourselves even more so that Kathleen Kennedy hates fans. She does not like the fandom. She does not like the Star Wars structure by George Lucas at all and how it operates. And yeah, you know, it gets tiresome after a while. I can totally understand that, of how Kathleen Kennedy just does not want to shed a little bit of positivity into the limelight, and it's all about her negativity and everything related to her, you know, terrible views of the fans and the franchise. But I digress. The thing about this that's even all the more surprising has a lot to do with Brunetti. Moving on. Now, of course, in total, Kennedy's argument is that Brunetti is a fan and that will give him bad judgment on how to tell good stories for the Star Wars franchise. This has actually sparked arguments between Disney higher-ups and Kennedy about Brunetti getting hired to replace her, and is only creating more drama behind the scenes. Now, Dana Brunetti, this is also a cause of drama, is described to have disagreed with Kathleen Kennedy's approach and admitted to Star Wars all these years by Kennedy that, of course, the Disney, which also sparked the drama, that it was never really Star Wars. In no way does this interrupt plans to mark him as the replacement, but it's causing toxicity over at Disney and Lucasfilm for the past number of days now. The plan is still a go to replace Kennedy by this August by Bob Iger. Now, I like how Brunetti admitted to the Disney higher-ups that what Kennedy has been doing is not truthful, is not honest to the fans, and is just not pure Star Wars. Now look, I get it. Some fans love the sequels, and that's fine. You know, everybody's open to their discussions and opinions below in the comments, without a doubt. You're open to express whatever you feel. But there's no doubt in saying that a large portion, more like a majority of fans, have some level of problems, deep problems, with the sequel trilogy movies, and that is all because of Kathleen Kennedy. We've had so many top Hollywood producers, by the way, that openly said that the sequels were just out of touch. Even James Cameron touched on this, by the way, too, and that's speaking a lot. So, Brunetti has a big point, and Kathleen Kennedy did not like that point, and that really is the thing that sparked the drama. Alright, it was him that kind of admitted that first, then she went on to say that Brunetti is not fit for the franchise and stuff like that. It's just an ongoing tug-of-war scenario, so it's just sad that this is what happens over at Disney and Lucasfilm time and time again. As long as Kennedy is there, there's always some kind of drama, arguments, and creative differences, and it's never going to stop until she's out, which is why Bob Iger and the Disney higher-ups just want to tune her out by this August. So, the last thing I want to bring up here that's, I think, crucial is Brunetti, by the way, is actually really into the character Luke Skywalker, and you can only imagine what would happen once he's chosen as the official new Lucasfilm president. Anyways, with that being all done and said, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you guys have to say about the whole Kathleen Kennedy situation against Dana Brunetti, and Dana Brunetti admitting his feelings to Disney. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.